What is good, Black Clover fans? It has been a minute for you guys, especially. I haven't done any Black Clover content in what feels like forever, but I have a fun video for you guys today, and that is what is Asta's best sword. Now, this is something that we definitely can talk more about now that we've gotten to see the full capabilities of all of his sword's abilities, or at least some of all of his sword's abilities, after all of his training. Obviously, if you are not a manga reader, you're about to get spoiled to death here, so you should just leave. Just get on out of here. You don't want to be here.
Just get out of here, you stupid, dumb animal!
Now, for everyone that is still here, we've gotten to see all of Asta's sword's abilities in Devil Union, in addition to what we already know about each sword. So I kind of just wanted to say my opinion on what I think his strongest sword is. I'll go backwards to say, like, I guess I'll just do it in order, actually. That might be the best way, which would be weakest to strongest, and give my reasoning why. And at the very bottom of this list, what I believe Asta's weakest sword is probably going to be a big surprise to a lot of people, but I believe the Demon Dweller is actually Asta's weakest sword. Now, before everyone spams me with dislikes that no one is ever going to be able to see because YouTube took those away for some reason, the Demon Dweller sword has the most potential, in my opinion. Like, the Demon Dweller sword could be Asta's strongest sword, but since Asta does not utilize all of the Demon Dweller sword's abilities, he doesn't use it to its fullest potential. I don't know if it's Tabata just doesn't care for its ability to absorb magic, or if Tabata doesn't want to have Asta have that like power or anything. But since the cave arc with Borrow, the Mud Dude, and like Gauche, or even further back than that with the dungeon and Noelle in the water with Mars, he has not touched on this ability with Asta at all. Like, he had Lick doing it left and right. Lick was absorbing everyone's magic and shooting it back, but Asta never really does it. So it's one of those things where without that ability, it kind of makes that sword for Asta not as good as it could potentially be if he was using it. Now, I won't lie, Asta using it was kind of weird because he like absorbed his friend, like he absorbed Noelle's water and made it like anti-magic water, which just doesn't even really make sense. But like, with how Asta uses that sword, he only uses it for projectiles essentially, and the same as the Demon Slayer. So I kind of think that it would be his weakest sword, in my personal opinion. Now, for the next weakest one, I believe it would be his original sword, the first one he got, the Demon Slayer. Now, the Demon Slayer, in terms of appearance and just overall the aesthetic with Asta, that is my favorite sword personally. Like, I like how that one looks. It's huge, has that guts feeling, even though I've never read Berserk, don't hate me for that, but it has that guts feeling. Or I guess Cloud Strife would probably be a closer comparison for me, but it has that, like, that I just like huge swords. I mean, who doesn't like huge swords? But it's not necessarily like the most stylish sword, but like it gets the job done. And its main draw would be the ability to grow larger with the Black Divider, being able to just get bigger than it already is, which is super useful. We've seen in the fight with the Twin Devils, being able to grow so large as to smack that giant freezing sun ball back. That could be mad useful, because essentially with that, he's smacking back just about any spell. Like, there's not too many characters in Black Clover, or too many abilities that would get much bigger than how much bigger he can make the Demon Slayer. And I even argue that he could probably make it even bigger, to be honest. Like, because the way, like, when he did it, it wasn't like a surpasses limits moment. He just did it. So there's no reason to believe Asta probably could make it even larger. This sword doesn't really have its own special ability. It's kind of the standard outside of the Black Divider, honestly, but its main thing is just smacking magic back. But I still think even with that, it's better, has more utility, or not more utility, but I think it's just better for how Asta fights, how Asta's kit works. I think the Demon Slayer sword is probably his third strongest sword. And now, coming in at number 2 for me, his second strongest sword is probably going to be, again, this whole list is probably surprising to a lot of people, but his second strongest sword to me would be his Demon Slasher Katana. I don't actually think this is the strongest sword, like I feel like a lot of people will think. I know recency bias is mad crazy, and the newest thing is usually the coolest or most best thing to everybody, but I think the Demon Slasher Katana is only second, because while this is his most, like, dangerous sword, or I feel like this sword does the most damage out of all of his swords, it appears to be sharper. Like, I don't have much to base this off of, but it just appears to be sharper in how it operates in terms of cutting magic. Obviously, in the last chapter with his demon slasher, infinite slash equinox, that's kind of a weird name when I say it out loud, but with that move, he cut the what was manifesting of Lucifaro in half, as well as the secondary effect, which it appeared to be erasing the effect of the presence of the Demon King in that area, which I feel like is being a little bit overlooked at, because as we see previously, while Lucifaro was manifesting when was out, the passive gravity was crushing everyone. But after Asta does this attack, it erases everything in that area. We kind of get a little bit of hints of this when he was training against Noct, with the Demon Slasher Katana trying to first get Devil Union, and when he cut, it erased the magic in the area. And you could even go further back than that when he slashed Dante, when he beat him, when Yami first gave him the sword. It kind of like turned Dante's magic off, it seems like. So it appears that maybe an ability of the Demon Slasher Katana is after it's swung, it turns the magic off in the area, which I believe turning the magic off in the area is probably like one of the most broken things that you can do in the Black Clover verse. So that's most of my reason why it's the second strongest, is because turning off the magic is really powerful, and the sword appears to be really sharp, really dangerous, or at least more so sharp and dangerous than the other ones, in my personal opinion, in addition to having the same effects that all the other ones have, being able to just negate magic entirely. I will say, I think one thing that kind of puts the sword maybe a knockdown is it's not as wide, so you can't really smack magic back, but if you're cutting through it and turning it off, I mean, that's just as good. And then obviously for the strongest sword, I haven't talked about this one yet, and I was just talking about how good turning magic off is, would be the Demon Destroyer sword. I believe personally this is Asta's strongest sword, just because in the fight with Lilith and Nama, when they turned into their element and he just put the sword up and just said nope, like when he just turned the magic off in the area, that's just broken. Like in the Black Clover universe, just being able to say nope to whatever is going on close to you is just absolutely broken. Like I think that sword personally to me is the strongest sword, because there's not a lot of mages in Black Clover to where if Asta was fighting against them and he just said nope to the magic right on them, they kind of just lose right there. Like whatever follow-up he has after that pretty much just wins. Like imagine Asta's fighting against, like, say Marileona, and they're both about to clash. She has her Hellfire Incarnate on, Asta has Devil Union, and he just says nope and just turns it off. She's just sitting there defenseless. Like she's literally defenseless. Or if he's fighting against, say, Luck, and Luck has his ultimate magic on and he just turns it off, he just says nope, it's like he's kind of defensive. Or you could use an example of someone that doesn't use their magic to transfer. He could even be fighting against Yuno. If Yuno has all these conjunction stars around him, shooting everything, spirit dive, he has all this stuff going, Asta just turns it off. He just says nope. So I mean, like, this was one of the things where that sword just being able to say no to magic in the area is just too broken. That's way too broken for me. It is his strongest sword in my opinion. Now I will say, I don't think the sword has like crazy range to turn things off, because I don't think it's like, I don't think he's saying nope to like a mile radius of magic, because that would just be way too broken. And I do think there is a limit to what he can turn off, because when Lilith and Ahmad did do the giant freezing sunball, it wasn't like he could just nope that. He had to actually go up there and combat that himself. So I don't think it's like this unlimited nope ability, but the fact that it does have enough magic to say no to Lilith and Nama is, that speaks for itself. They're both, it's two supreme devil spells that it turned off simultaneously, like at the same time. So I mean, like, you could definitely make the argument that it can't turn off everything, but the fact that that was its first threshold, was two supreme devil spells at the same time, means that there's not a lot of characters in Black Clover that are going to have a mana pool big enough for that, are going to have spells larger than that that won't be able to be turned off. So that's why my personal opinion, the Demon Destroyer sword is the strongest sword. Now to summarize, going real quick from lowest to highest: Demon Dweller, because Asta doesn't use its full capabilities; Demon Slayer, just because there's not more to it outside of getting bigger; Demon Slasher Katana; and then the Demon Destroyer. That would be the order for me. I would love to hear you guys' order in the comments on what you guys think. If you disagree with me, or if you agree with me, or more than likely some, we probably disagree with some things but agree with something, I would just love to hear what you guys have to say about it in the comments down below. Now I will be trying to get back more into the nitty gritty of the Black Clover content. I don't know if any of you guys knew, but I did have COVID over the past 2 weeks, so I was super sick. COVID was terrible. I said it before, I would not recommend getting it. If you've had it before, don't get it again. It sucks. It was horrible. But I am back now with more stuff to talk about. So you guys all, please stay healthy, I really like. I'm serious. I don't want anybody to get sick. So you guys stay healthy. Make sure you guys like the video. So subscribe to the channel for more content, at least to see what I got cooking up for Black Clover in the very near future. Outside from that, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video.